Hey Saber fans, this is Adam from Blue Force Sabers. I wanted to do a couple of quick tutorials with tips and tricks on saber building. I picked up a lot of tricks over the past 2 years with my saber building. As you know, I like to do sabers from scratch. It gives a really unique style to them, so I like to build them top to bottom. I use a lot of the quality parts that are found with the aluminum heat sinks and stuff for the internals, but when you're starting out and you want to build your own and make it the same, the unique look for yourself, these are a couple of the common tools that you'll need with drills, step drill bits, as you can see here, with your switches and stuff. And I get a lot of these questions on my YouTube videos, and you can probably find a lot of the answers if you look through the comments at I covered with other people, but I wanted to make a couple of specific tutorials so it goes over these common questions that I get. I figured that would help people with their building. And so this one's going to be going over switches, recharge ports, and not wiring up anything, but the hole sizes that you need to drill and tap. The common 8/32 screws that are used in a lot of the sabers. People strip out the screws for their sabers. They like to know how to be able to fix them. And so I'll go over the sizes of drill bits and taps that you'll need. So I try not to make this too long and too drawn out, but I would definitely recommend you watching from beginning to end. It's going to go over a lot of different little steps here and there, and maybe it'll help you down the road as you're building your sabers for yourself. So one of the big common questions I get is for recharge ports, so we'll do that first. Move these out of the way. So the two common ones that are used are the Switchcraft. This one over here on the left, and then this other one here on the right side, this black one. So these are the two common ones that you'll see used in a lot of the builds. When you get it from custom builds from myself or others. These are the two I use. This one's commonly used in Saber forged hilts. So if you're going to stick with this one, then the hole size that you want to tap for that would be an M12 or a 15/32 drill bit. So for this one right here, so a nice common drill bit that you can use, that I use a lot, are these step drill bits. These can be found online, can be found in Home Depot, Lowe's, hardware stores and stuff. So this is a common one that I use, very easy. And as you can see, instead of having a whole multitude of drill bits in your arsenal, you can get one of these, and they sell them in different sizes, like this one here. And it has just different steps. And the steps is, so you can see down at the bottom, you have a 1/4 inch to 5/16, the 3/8, the 7/16, 1/2 inch, going all the way up. So it slowly, as you're drilling, increases the diameter of the hole. So it makes it a lot easier to drill, gives you a cleaner hole, and straighter as well. So for the black one over here, it's going to be the 5/32. I believe this one has it on there. 5/32, where are you? I'll get it to focus here. I'm sorry, it's 15/32. There you go. So if you wanted to use this one right here, it would be this one up at the top. So it's 15/32 you would use, and I'll post these in the description as well. 15/32, we have this on here. Nope. So that's why it's beneficial to have a couple of these step drill bits, because they don't always have the size that you have. Basically, I have these two, and I have one more that I use, and so you'll get all the different sizes in between as well. So 15/32 would cover this black recharge port here. Another common one is this Switchcraft style recharge port. So you can see it has a smaller diameter up top here for the hole size. So that one would be a 5/16 size. So I believe the 5/16 is on this one. Let's take a look here. Yep, there. So you can see right there, 5/16. So basically you would just size that up on your drill, and then you would just keep drilling until you hit the 5/16 mark. So if you saw in this one too, a little tip that I've done is I just mark, I can do whatever you want, I just put a little piece of tape on the size that I want the drill to, and then I know to stop at that mark. I found that to be the easiest, and you can see it, so it's a nice visual aid as it's spinning. You can always see that white piece of tape there. So that basically covers the two hole sizes that you'll need for the recharge ports when you're doing those. So the other two common questions I get are for your switches. So these are the two common sizes that are usually used. This is a 12mm switch, which is what I prefer in my builds. And this is the 16mm switch that's used. So the 16mm switch, if you were drilling the hole for that, would be a 5/8 drill bit size. And that can also be found on these, or you can just have a regular drill bit. That's the step drill bits here. Let's see if I can find it on here. 5/8 would be, let's see if it's on this one. There you go. So you can see it right up top, the 5/8 drill bit size for the 16mm switch. Now this is the SAE standard, so it's more of an American standard. If you find one that has a M16, which would be the size for that would be the metric standard. You can see those, the equivalent sizes online. They also sell charts in the stores that give you the equivalents to those sizes, but I like to use the SAE standard for when I'm drilling and tapping the holes for mine. So the other common one is this 12mm switch, as you can see, and the size that you would be using for that would be a 15/32 or an M12 if you're going for the metric standard. So a 15/32, and these will also be found on the step drill bits as well. So it covers the recharge ports and the switches. So the other common one that's used. So now if you want to drill and tap another screw to either secure your LED in there or secure your blade within the hilt, you're going to be using these small set screws, as you can see here. This is a common size. This is an 8/32 screw. This is a socket set screw, and the 8/32 is the size and the thread size. So that's the common one that's used. I usually try to use that on all my Sabers. So for my blade retention, my LED retention, and then to hold maybe pieces on the 3D parts that I print on there, I try to use this 8/32 screw bit size because that's a common size that's used kind of throughout the industry of Saber builders. So what you would need to do to tap another hole for that screw would be a drill bit end tap size for that screw. So this one specifically is made for the 8/32 size. So this drill bit, now I find the easiest is to really just get a pack of drill and taps, and the reason for that is because if you need to drill a bigger size because you might have stripped that screw, the 8/32 size, you might need to go up to a 10/32 size. You already have that set to be able to do it, and they sell it that way. And I'll post a link in the description of it. I have a DeWalt drill and tap set. It comes with like 17 total taps and drills in the set. I believe this one came with it as well, and this just slides in for the tap, and it's extremely easy to do. What I would recommend too is if you have a drill press, to use a drill press for the actually drilling of the hole. Not necessary, but makes it a much cleaner and easier way to drill the hole through your aluminum or steel or whatever you're using, or even PVC. PVC would obviously be easier, but if you're drilling through aluminum, you would need some way to secure that. And I'll show you that in a second with just a little bit of setup I have with mine. But what you would need would be this drill and tap set. So for example, usually you can buy them in a set of a drill bit and a tap. So for this one is a number 29 drill bit. That's the size of the drill bit. And then the tap you would need is just an 8/32 tap. So basically all you do is you drill through with the drill bit, creates the hole, and then the tap is just slightly larger. And as you can see on here, you see where it will screw through the hole and then tap the actual grooves for the screw to hold in. So if you're going back and forth with what to buy online or looking in the store, now they sell a drill bit with taps already on the drill bit. I do not like those, and I'll tell you the reason why. Is because when you're drilling and tapping, you drill at a different speed that you would tap at. So when you're using those where it's all built into one, the drill and the tap into one bit, you're drilling and tapping at the same speed. And the reason why I don't like that is because you just don't get, I can't say all the time, but you just don't get as clean as a tap. And if you want a nice clean tap, you want to use two separate ones because you drill at one speed, they get through. And if you think with metal too, it's going to heat up, you're going to get little burrs too of metal as you're screwing through. So when you're tapping, I like to tap at a nice slow speed as I'm just kind of cutting through the metal, and you can keep it straight. It's a lot easier and cleaner too in the end. So it takes just a minute longer to be able to do that separately. So to be able to have a nice clean tap is more beneficial than using the two together. So that's that one with the 8/32. Another common one is 6/32. Now that's the size of the screw. That's a smaller screw. I don't think I have an example here because I usually don't use that size. But if you do, that's a 6/32, and the drill bit size would be a 36. And you would see that when you're buying the drill bits and the taps. It would actually have that on there. But if you're looking for one specifically, that's the size you would need. The other common size is a little bit bigger, and that's if you stripped your screw and you need to go to a different size. That would be a 10/32 size, and the drill bit that you would need would be a number 21. That's why I recommend just kind of going with the whole set, because then you have those different ones if you need to. So as I showed, this is a 8/32 screw, and I believe this size is 3/16. That's a pretty common size that's seen. You can go with slightly smaller size. I'll show you that in a second here. This is a 8/32, and it's a 1/8 size. So you can see it's much shorter than the other one. Try to get these so you can see them kind of side by side here. So you can see how much shorter that is. It's about half the size of the other one. And then you can get a little bit longer size. Now these you can find in your hardware store. I like to buy them in bulk because they're a lot cheaper to buy them that way. I usually get them in a pack of 2 in the hardware store, but you can get it a little bit longer. And the reason why I like them in different sizes, especially if you're building your own sabers, is because the thickness that you're going, if you're going to overlap items on top of each other, you might want to go through all those pieces to be able to get to maybe the core of your saber, or go all the way through to get to the LED or the blade holder to keep it within your saber. So I like to have the multiple lengths of these screws. Another common one, screw that's used, is this socket head cap screw. Now these come in all different sizes too. And the get it to focus here. It's called a socket head cap, is because of this square shape on the top here. That's a pretty common one. You see that maybe a lot for holding your blade in place, because you can actually grab it without having to use an Allen key to be able to screw it or tighten it. You can use it finger tightening. So that's a common one that's used. Also, another one that you might see is the button head socket cap screw, and that's like this one right here. You can see it's flatter, and these use all different Allen key sizes to be able to tighten them down. If you have like a multi-tool, you'll probably have that size on there. But that's another common one that's used, and these are all 8/32 threads. But if you're using the kind of that standard and you need a replacement for these socket set screws here. Now if you're using the 8/32 size, get this to focus. As you can see, there's the opening at the top to be able to tighten it in. The size that you would need of a Allen key would be this size right here, and this is a 5/64 size. So that's this size right here. Now these come in multi-packs as well. I buy these in bulk because I like to include one with all my Sabers, because that's the standard I use, and it's nice and convenient for the customer to be able to loosen and unloosen the retention on their blades. So that's the size you would use for that, and that's the common size, but you can find those in the store as well. You just might have to buy it in a pack with multiple ones. So the last thing I'm going to basically cover in here is if you're using PVC or 3D printed parts, this is something else that I use to secure it on. Because if you've ever worked with plastic at all, or 3D printed parts, and you're doing a lot of screwing and unscrewing of the parts, you'll find that the threads will eventually start to get all jumbled up and not work. It won't be as clean. So anyway, this is a fix for that, and this is a threaded heat set insert. These are pretty good. These work very well when you're working with plastic, and you'll actually see these on a lot of parts in manufacturing too. With I've seen them in several things, in cameras and stuff like that, where they have plastic parts and they need a metal insert for the screw to fit through. You can use these in your Saber building as well. This is the threaded heat set insert. This is also an 8/32 size, and these are very easy to use. If you have a soldering iron already, you basically heat up your soldering iron. Heat up your soldering iron, and you take the 3D part, and you place it on. And then as you heat it up, it pushes, you tap a little hole into your 3D part or your plastic piece, and then you basically insert it in. You heat this up, and it literally pushes right into the plastic, and these little threads here on the top will grab into the plastic, and the plastic will melt around, and it creates a nice solid piece for your screws to go into. So you're not screwing right into the plastic, but now you have a nice metal screw piece into the plastic that holds it all in place. And these work fantastically. I've used them quite a bit. So that's pretty much it with the parts. If you have any questions, please feel free to hit me up in the comments. And as always, I like to help you out and answer them for you. So this is just one of a couple of videos I'm going to shoot. So I hope it was helpful. And until next time, take care and God bless.